Welcome to the Be Healed Web Show. I'm so happy to have Mr. Marquis Cooper and Miss LaTonya Johnson, soon to be Cooper, I believe. Because
that's right.
We talk about Be Healed Web Show, the topic of relationships, and this being us. I'm just so happy to have you all, that you all came by and stopped by and hang out with me on tonight. So let's kind of just introduce ourselves. Marquis, introduce Tonya, and Tonya, you introduce Marquis.
Okay.
Well, this is my beautiful fiance as of almost 72 hours ago. Her name is LaTonya Johnson, soon to be LaTonya Cooper.
Yes. Dramatic. And this is Mr. Marquis Cooper, the love of my life, soon to be husband.
Yes. Yes, we'll clap that up. We'll celebrate this beautiful Black love. We'll celebrate love. So let's just start here. Where did you all meet? How did this happen?
Okay. Oh, we met on Facebook. Believe it or not, it was weird. So I requested Tonya. We had mutual friends. I don't even remember how many, but we had enough to where I was like, we might know each other. You know what I mean? We might have seen each other somewhere around. And we were friends on Facebook for like a whole year before we even say anything to each other. It was,
he had a girlfriend.
At the time I did. When I first requested at the time, I did have a girlfriend. So respectfully, I said nothing. But I will say it was about maybe 5 or 6 months before we actually started communicating. I used to always go on Facebook to see her posts. She was so funny, like the funniest person online. You know what I mean? I used to go see her posts. She used to have Layla. Like her whole life was so interesting to me, and God manifested this.
And then one day Layla saw him as I'm scrolling Facebook, and she's like, "Daddy." And I kind of laughed because I don't think I ever realized he doesn't resemble her daddy, just a little bit,
We got bald head.
Apparently, I like dark-skinned men with bald head and beard.
Listen, have your type, sis. Have your type, sis.
And she was what, 1.5?
Somewhere, yeah.
And she said, "Daddy," and I thought it was funny, and I thought he had a girlfriend still. So I didn't want to be disrespectful. So I just told him in the inbox, like just a little joke. Some women are a little sensitive with another woman saying something. So I said, I don't want to be disrespectful, but I thought it was funny. My daughter saw your picture and said, "Daddy." And he's like, "Oh, I don't have a girlfriend." And I was like, "Oh, okay." So then I went back to his page because I wanted to see, because I remember seeing pictures of her. And I'm like, "Oh, okay, she really ain't there. So maybe he ain't got a girlfriend." And I don't know. Then we just started talking, and I hit him with the "call me sometime."
She did. And
then he didn't call me.
That's so. Well, she don't always tell the whole story. You know what I mean? When she say this, I'm at a friend's house, and she hits me. She says, "You should call me sometime." And I'm looking at my friend, and I said, I was like, I can't call her, because if I call her, then I'm gonna like her. And I just got through telling my friend, like, I'm gonna just be single for a little bit. I'm gonna just do me. I'm gonna focus on work. I'm XYZ, and then here she comes. And then she was maybe a couple weeks later, she was going to have she was having a medical procedure done. And I hit her up just to see if she was okay. Like how she, praying for you, seeing if you're okay.
You better come on, prayer warrior. Yes, Lord. Yes, Lord. Hallelujah.
Yeah. And then
that was
it. You know what I mean? We started talking, and we had the longest conversation on the phone. And
he asked me out.
I did.
And I told him it was a Sunday night, I believe. And I said, oh, my daughter's coming back tomorrow from her dad's house. I won't be able to go out for 2 more weeks because she'll go back with her dad in 2 weeks.
Yeah.
And he told me he couldn't wait 2 weeks.
Not waiting.
He's like, my off day is Tuesday. I'll be off work. And I said, well, I work on Tuesdays. And he's like, well, I'll come to your job and take you to lunch. So that's what he did. He came on my lunch break on his off day. And that was the first time of our first date.
First date, yeah.
Until 2 weeks later when Layla was gone, we had a real date.
Yeah.
But yeah.
And then we've been dating since yesterday.
Hey, listen, because I was like, oh, I know, LaTonya, you got off that phone singing "Somebody Prayed for Me," had me on. Yeah, God, you know. And then you was acting like, you know, being in a rush for things. You was like, look, I'm gonna seize the day.
Like I wasn't gonna let her get away.
That's what I'm talking. You know, see, this is awesome. I love this. So it's been history ever since. So I think it's been what, a year and a half, 2 years?
2 years.
2 years. Okay. And how does mom, dad on both sides feel about this? How is the family feeling?
Oh, it's all love. Everybody loves everybody.
That's right.
That's good.
Honestly.
Yeah. We are a product of perfect timing.
Yeah.
You know,
More.
Well, because a lot of people get into relationships or, you know, I'll meet her and she's ready for a full-time commitment, but something's going on in my life where I'm not ready or whatever. But we met at a time where we both were serious about wanting to settle down. We both knew we wanted. We both were content and ambitious enough to go from where we are to take it higher. And she's beautiful. Like, come on now. You know what I mean? Like
that Tuesday that he came to my job, it was in the month of January. We didn't make it official until February.
Yeah.
But that Tuesday was in January. And the old Tanya was like, fall real hard. And then 2 weeks later, I was like, I'm over him. So my coworker told him,
you did.
I give y'all until President's Day. That was like the end of January. She was like, first she said March, if I remember correctly. And then she said, no, President's Day. She's like, Tanya gets over men real fast. She was like, I give you until President's Day. She's like, if President's Day, I'll pay for the date. And she was serious. She meant it to this day. And President's Day came and went.
Yeah.
And you went ahead and got your money.
By President's Day, we had made it official.
Yeah.
That's awesome. That's awesome. So when you say, let's talk a little bit about perfect timing and go back to what you just said, Marquis, regarding sometimes people aren't ready. It's oblong. You just got out of a relationship. Yeah. And I don't know if you ever got a chance to see some of my series when we talk about vulnerability with the men. Did you feel yourself in a vulnerable state, you know, when you got that message from Tanya, or did you see share a little bit on that side?
So I don't know if I would call it vulnerability as much as I just knew where it was going to go because I already liked her.
Okay.
I mean, look, I've been stalking her page for a whole year. You know what I'm saying? Like notifications was on. Like she posted, it was like Tanya posted a bit. I was like, oh snap! You know what I mean? Here we go. Like so, I already knew. It was just I just knew, and I told you know. I wanted to make sure I had my mind right. I told my homegirl, I said, I can't do it unless I know my mind is right. And I just told you that I'm not getting in a relationship, so I can't trust myself right now. So let me see. And I couldn't for 2 weeks, Camille, let me tell you, for 2 whole weeks, I thought about her. I could not get her off my mind. I'm like, I'm gonna hit her up. I ain't gonna do it today. And then she posted on Facebook, she's like, I gotta, you know, I got this thing tomorrow. And I'm like, hope you do all right. You know what I'm saying? Like, we'll see what happens.
I just want to make sure you good. I mean, right. You know, I love you, girl. But like, I know you
praying for you. You know what I'm saying? So
that's awesome. That's awesome. So what I hear in that is your surety of self, your awareness of self, but also understanding your heart. You knew that she was already the object of your affection. So Tanya, when you hear him tell these stories, How do you feel down on the
I'm not
inside
gonna
of
lie.
you?
It sounds so good. For a part of me, I thought he was running a little game the first time he told me that, because I was like, come on now. And then I met that friend, Ayana, that same friend that he told that to.
Yeah.
And without prompting, without me asking her, without anything, she was like, one time he was sitting on my couch and he said, I'm not gonna call her because I'm gonna fall in love with her if I call her. And I was like, okay, like I don't know. It makes me feel good. It does.
So
Loved. He's made me feel loved since day one. He has.
So what has that done for you as a woman and as a mother? What has that done for you?
I think the main thing Marquis has done for me is probably make me, I'm very independent. I could need help and I'm not going to ask you for help.
Mm-hmm.
You could be my man and you can be my mama. You could be whoever you want to be. And I'm very independent, and he's made me realize this is us. You know what I mean? This is us. It's us. It's a team. It's us against the world. And he's there no matter what. If he needs to call off work, Layla's not his kid, but he will call in and say, my daughter is sick and my girlfriend's already called off 2 days in a row. So you'll see you in 2 days. Like,
see you when I see.
He's made me realize that I'm not alone in this.
Marquis.
Yes, ma'am.
How does that make you feel when you hear your love saying those words about you?
Man, look. She about to, it's right here. You see it? It's right there.
Okay.
No, it. So, a lot of people, everyone knows a woman wants to be secure, right? But men want that too. You know what I mean? I want to be secure in my feelings too, because I'm gonna put myself out there. And I want you to do the same. I told her that if she wanted my heart, it was gonna cost me hers. And that's how we, look, she gave it to me. And I put it right here because that's where it's gonna go. And it makes me feel great, man. It makes me feel so good that she's so perfect. You know what I mean? Like, she's so awesome. You know what I mean? Like,
y'all just go ahead and kiss right here. I now pronounce you husband and wife. Like, just listen. I mean, I really could do that, by the way. I'm licensed. But I love what I'm hearing because, one, I haven't shared your ages because, Tanya, I don't think you want me to say it, but
I'm 38.
Okay, and Marquis?
I'm 36.
36. Okay. So not only are you all still in that area where some, depending on how you're looking at it, some people will call us millennials, other ones will call us like Gen Y, depending on where we sit. But for you all to have this love for one another, and it's authentic, it's stuff that we see on Amazon Prime if we're watching Sylvie's Love. It's the stuff that we're looking at. I never seen Photograph. I heard mixed reviews, so I won't judge that. But but when you think about, even, let's just go back to our childhood, Claire and Cliff, what they had in their dynamic. It's a beautiful thing. Ruby Dee and Ozzie Davis type love. So when you look at that, what brought you all to the place to be willing to try again with this? Marquis, I heard you, but what was making you willing, LaTonya, to try again?
His patience. He's like the most patient I've had. Listen, I've had my meltdowns. You deal with men who make you put up this wall. So his persistence and consistency, he's very consistent. He told me from day one that this is how I am and I'm going to love you. And he has never, even in the midst of our arguments, we have our arguments, we have our days. And even in the worst of the worst days that we've ever had, he still will turn around and say, you're getting on my nerves, but I love you. He's very consistent. He doesn't waver at all with his love.
Marquis, what is your family background like?
Both my parents are still together. Been together for, they gonna kill me, but I don't even know, like over 30 years. I got I'm the oldest of four. I got two little brothers. My sister's the youngest, so she's spoiled. You know what I mean?
And the only girl.
And the only girl.
We're not gonna do this, Marquis. Okay, we're not gonna do this right now because you're saying it like she watching. Like, that's right, I said it.
She go see it. You know what I'm saying? It is what it is. I got to get them in where I can. but yeah, man, I come from a strong Black family. My dad was in the Navy. My mom, superwoman. You know what I mean? We couldn't do, our entire family would crumble without my mom. You know what I mean? But yeah, I come from a good, strong Black family that I'm proud of. And they taught me values and respect and manners, and
Definitely.
showed me how to love. You know what I mean? They showed me how to be how I want to be with LaTonya, just.
I love that he is very open with his emotions and his feelings. He doesn't hide. If he loves you, he loves you with 35 people in the room, or he loves you when you're in the room by yourself. He's the same no matter what. And in the past, men are very much, I love you in secret.
Yes.
When we're here, I love you, love you, love you. But over here, it's like, I got to put on my front for my boys. And there's no fronting over here. You don't care. It's, if I love you, I love you.
You'll get it. You'll get the love. You know what I mean? But that's all I got. I mean, at the end of the day,
And he's so patient with Layla.
Yes.
Like, I mean, he works 16-hour days and comes home and says, babe, go take a bath. I can see you got a headache. I got Layla. And he got Layla, They read their bedtime stories every night. That's their little thing. She don't want me to read her stories because apparently I'm not as dramatic as Marquis.
She don't get into
it. So mommy's not allowed to read the bedtime stories, but whatever.
She's like,
but no, I don't think anything could make me love a man more than watching him love my child.
Yeah, in a safe, pure way.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Loving his children is great, and he does love his. He loves, but watching a man love a child that is mine, that is not his, that takes a different kind of love, different kind of a different level.
So a few questions. Are you all Marquis, do you have children of your own?
I do. I have two teenagers. I got a 17-year-old daughter and my son is 14, but they live in Illinois with their mom.
You are a very grown 36.
Well, thank you.
Like,
Thank you. I appreciate you.
Like when you said you was 36, I was like, LaTonya got a young man. Like, I've been doing this all along. Let me change my requirements. Let me go low.
No, that's serious. That was seriously. And before I had a very strict age limit.
Yeah.
My parents had me at a young age, so I wouldn't go too old, because you go too old, then you get closer to my parents' age.
Yeah.
And my oldest sibling is still 7 years younger than me. So when I think of a 30-year-old, I think of my brother, and to me, he's immature. So I don't want to go too young, because I'm thinking like, no, you 30, but you act like my brother. Right. And you 50, but you're closer to my mom's age than you are to my age. So I had a very strict box of age that you got to be right here. And I don't know if I would have went for a younger guy before. It was always like my age, or maybe a year or two older, 3 years older. But look at God.
I mean, what God does is beautiful, and Marquis, understanding that you have children of your own and the blending, right? Let's talk about the kids.
Okay.
Layla is the star of everyone's show.
She's the boss.
Like, when I tell you, I'll be so happy when I see posts about Layla. I'm like, what girlfriends say now? Like, she is
the boss.
She's a whole character. She hand on her hip posing. I'm like, it remind me when we was at Shanika's one of her shower parties that we had, and we were all posing with the hip out. I'm like, oh, she don't look like her mom. Oh my God. So but all in all, my thought, how are the children adjusting to this new layer of love?
Well, like my kids specifically?
Your kids, and then we'll do it later.
Okay. I mean, my kids are teenagers, so
they don't really care.
You know what I mean? Like they're like I call my son, and like I told him, I say, hey kid, so I talked to my son. So I was like, my dude, I'm gonna pop the question on Friday. He's like, all right. You know what I'm saying? You can just tell, like, I'm on the phone with him, but you can tell he's doing something else. You know what I mean?
He in that
As he's talking to me.
PS5, he ain't got time.
And I was like, how you feel about that? He was like, I mean, does she make you happy? You know? Happier than I ever been. All right. You know, and I tell my daughter, she's like, oh, okay. But you know, they got a million things going on right now.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But they are happy. They are happy for me. And you know, my kids are the mature. Me and their mom split when they were small.
Mhm.
So they kind of been going through this basically almost their whole lives. You know what I mean? And sometimes I have to kind of seek guidance from Tanya because I didn't grow up without both my parents.
Yeah.
So I don't know what that dynamic is like. You know what I mean? Sometimes I don't know what they're feeling. And she tells me, babe, you can't always feel this way because you don't know what that's like. She tells me these things. So all in all, I think they're happy. You know what I mean? I think they're cool. I think it's a little different because they live so far and they're not here every single day. So the interaction that we get is mainly over the phone or over the phone, you know, like, or you know what I mean? Or the
Especially
small
with COVID.
right. And they haven't been able, usually they come for the summers, but they haven't come because of COVID. So we haven't gotten a chance to spend a lot of time together, but they are very much so involved in our relationship.
That's good. That's good. And how is Miss Layla?
Oh, she was what, 2?
2, yeah.
She was 2, about to be 3 when we got together. So I don't know. I think Layla's she was at an age where she just doesn't know any different, you know? She loves him, but she doesn't remember her dad and I together, you know? So you know the whole, she saw the picture, you know, for those of you who aren't on my page, she saw a picture of her dad and I at her baby shower. And I think we were kissing in the picture, and she said, why are you in this picture with my daddy? And I said, because he used to be my boyfriend. And she said, oh, okay. And she kind of walked away and she stopped. And she goes, you kissed him? And I said, I did. She goes, oh, does Marquis know? I said,
Church brother had questions. You're like, is this public knowledge? Should I tell my?
Am I supposed to keep this a secret? Or like, she was at an age where, you know, it's easy for a 2-year-old they don't know any better. So it's easy he's nice to me. We're good. You know, her dad has a girlfriend, Miss Jin Jin, and she loves Miss Jin Jin, you know? So I think that she's just at an age where it's easy to accommodate, you know?
I think what I'm hearing is that she wanted to make sure her bedtime story didn't mess up. You decided to be frolicking in these pictures. She was like, I don't really want, but I'm gonna have to let him know. You know, and that's one thing I love about children are their resiliencies. You know, they're able to bounce back. They're able to articulate things that we don't because they haven't had the filter of life drench over them just yet. They're brutally honest. But it's not until they grow and they experience more of life and all of those issues that come with it. How do you maintain being the love leader, Marquis, in the home for your children and your soon-to-be wife?
Oh, I don't have a choice.
Okay.
I mean, you know, I don't have a choice. I want to be. Oh, you mentioned like Claire Huxtable, you know, and Cliff earlier today. Like that's not just something that you strive for. That's a whole dynamic. Like they had a whole family. You know what I mean? And I want that, man. I want to come home and be an example. So I don't really have a choice. I want Layla to grow up, and it is what it is. But I want Layla to grow up and find somebody like me.
Yeah.
You know, like I want my kid, I want my son to meet someone like Tanya because that's just what it is. So yeah, I mean,
beautiful.
Is that your phone?
Yeah.
No, I thought it was Layla getting ready to do her intro.
Nah,
I said, does she got theme music? Wait a minute.
Yeah, she was coming out with a tiara.
Right. Like I'm like, I didn't know Layla had theme music. Okay.
Yeah. So
I wouldn't even doubt that, but go ahead, I'm listening.
Yeah, you know, I'm not gonna say that some days it's not stressful, but look, Tanya will tell you, I love her. The moments that I love her the most is when we're in an argument. I do, because I just like raw energy.
Okay, I was like,
I just like raw energy. Like I do. I like raw energy. I want her to be as free as she possibly can while speaking her mind to me, and to say what she gonna say, so we can put it all out on the table, and that's what I love her the most, is when we're arguing. So I love, I maintain being a love leader by just keep going, man, just loving through it.
awesome. So as the love nurturer in this relationship, just based on your own words, I'm not assigning the roles, just based on what he stated about how his job is. So I'm like, okay, so if he's leading, you are to nurture. That's just, and sometimes the roles are reversed, because some wives are more of a love leader while the male is more of a love nurturer. It just depends on the dynamic. How is that a new role for you as being a love nurturer? Or have you felt always that that's been your role, but now you can really exercise it without reservation?
Yeah, I feel that I can exercise it without reservation. He makes me feel comfortable. He makes me feel I can just be myself. There's no pretenses. Honestly, literally, I don't have one single secret in life that he doesn't know about. And so he just makes me feel that I can be myself. I can wake up and I swear I wake up and I'm the ugliest person in the world, and this man tells me how beautiful I am. He doesn't get turned on when he doesn't get turned on when I walk around in lingerie, but I put on some granny panties and a onesie, and he's like, babe.
She don't know how good she be looking in these onesies, is what I'm trying to tell her.
He's like, babe, bring those when we go to San Francisco. I'm like, I have on thermals. What are you talking about?
Yeah,
like,
I don't look, how everybody keep talking about this whole Amazon leggings? She got these thermals. I don't know where she got them from.
He makes me feel so comfortable. And so he does. He makes me feel very comfortable with myself.
Yes.
And it's, if I say, babe, I want to gain 10 pounds, he's like, you're gonna look good with 10 extra pounds. If I say I want to lose 10 pounds, he's like, if that's what you feel like you need to do, he makes me feel so loved, and it makes me want to love him back. It makes me want to show him the love, because he gives it to me so freely. When
you said that, it just brought me right back to God, because I'm like, that's what he does.
That's right.
That's an example of God's love. God makes it so easy to love him, because he shows how easy it is that he can love us.
Yeah.
I fell in love with him because he reads the Bible every single night.
Come on,
he goes out there with his highlighter and his pens, and he's sitting in the bed, and every single night, I don't care what he's doing, and it just, I don't know, it turned me on. It was so consistent. I would take a shower and I come out and he's sitting there with a highlighter. The highlighter runs out, baby, got another highlighter, a pen. He just was very consistent. And it got a time where he was like, he hadn't picked up that Bible at nighttime for a couple of weeks, and I was like, where's your Bible at?
Yeah.
She's like, we're missing the ambiance.
Yeah. She brought me back though,
That's good.
She brought me back, and I was like, you know what, babe, I'm wild. I've been playing PlayStation until 3 a.m. You know what I mean? I need to get back in my Bible. She brought me back.
So how is your faith growing as you all grow together? LaTonya, I'll ask you this first.
One of our first dates was to church.
Okay.
I think it was the same weekend that we went to BJ's. That 2 weeks later, when I said Layla's not gone for 2 weeks later, I think it was that same weekend. We went to BJ's on Saturday, and Sunday we went to church together. And I will say that there's 3 people that I know that I admire their faith more than I don't know what. And it's my sister, Shanika, and this one. And I've told him plenty of times that I admire his faith so much, and he's brought me closer to God.
Yeah.
I think I'm a more faith-driven people than most people realize, because I'm not as verbal with my faith.
She know her Bible though.
I do.
You know what
I'm just
saying?
not as verbal with my faith as some other people. I'm a person who believes, I read, I do whatever. I'm just not as verbal with it or as public with it. But he is bringing it out of me.
Yeah, that's this is so good. Yes, Layla, come on, come on. Get on screen. It's your turn. It's the part of the service that you can participate in.
She's coming.
She was like, "Oh, I heard my name. Let's go."
Yeah.
But you know, I think that's heavy. That people sometimes omit in relationships. That if you don't have God at the center of the relationship, not saying that the relationship can't work. I'm not saying that.
It's not gonna work. It's not gonna work. You know what I mean?
I'm like,
If you don't put God first in your relationship, it's not gonna work.
Hi, Layla Boo.
Hi.
Hi, I'm your auntie Camille. So good to meet you face to face. You know, you were in the belly, and then some other things going on, and then you just grew so fast, and then COVID happened. But welcome. You're on TT Mills' show. It's called Be Healed. Do you have anything you want to say about Mom and Marquis's relationship?
No.
How do you feel about Mommy and Marquis getting married?
Good.
She's like, thumbs up. I'm all for it. I'm all for it. Well, Layla, it's so good to see you, beautiful. So
I'm only growing now. That's how older I am now.
you're 4. And you're going to be
Almost 5.
I know you're going to be 5 in April. I know. I was going to go to your party when you turned 3. And I was going to go to your party when you turned 4, but COVID happened.
Yeah.
I
When I
know.
first turned 4, karate first closed. But the karate over here is almost selling for €.
See, yes, it's so much happening. It's so many things happening right now that I think that especially with distance education and being remote and being separated, but to see closeness and unity and bonding and quarantining together as a family and being safe together as a family, all these things are nourishment for the soul. And that's one thing I try to do with this show, is to provide some type of nourishment on a Tuesday night at 7.
That's right.
For the soul. But I do have I wanted to ask you all a few more questions. You mentioned, Tanya, that you have no secrets.
Mhm.
I have a question for you all. What is some advice that you would give to couples that are currently in the journey like you all are, and maybe those that are aspiring to get in a relationship, when it comes back to dealing of the past? What would be your recommendation in conversation relating to the past?
So can you ask me that one more time? I'm sorry.
What would be your advice in
Right.
regards to having conversations relating to the past?
So my advice would be, listen, leave it behind you. You know what I mean? The past is the past, and just be honest about who it is, because it shapes you for who you are today, man. And the only way you can get through your relationship or build a great relationship is to know who you are, where you come from.
Yes.
And what you've gone through most of the time. So, I mean, with me, she tells me, look, I don't care what she used to do. I don't care who she used to date. I don't care how many times this happened, blah, blah, blah. It don't matter. You know, look, God has been with me and her since we met. And I'm just focused on today and tomorrow. I don't care about what happened with her outside of me yesterday.
Okay.
I mean, that's how I look at it, at least. So my advice would be to just, listen, just love through somebody's past, man, because somebody's past comes with stress.
Yeah.
It comes with depression.
Yeah.
It comes with, man, there's people who haven't gotten over stuff that happened to them when they were Layla's age. Something happened at 5 years old and they're 40. Yeah. And they're still letting that whole thing shape your life. It's just, that comes with so much, man. And you got to be patient. You got to be loving. You have to be understanding, and you can't be judgmental.
Yeah.
You can't be judgmental. And that's what she does for me. To be real with you, like she don't judge me. I can say whatever I want to say. I'm silly. You know what I mean? And she's just like, even when I'm a man, and I can admit that sometimes I think about things from a man's perspective and not something that is practical all the time. So she'll be, it'll be something so silly and so simple as putting a desk together. And I'm looking like, I know, you know what I mean? Like I can do this. And she'll be like, babe, you don't want to just lay that down right here and do this. And I'm like, damn, I'm a grown man. How come I didn't think of that? She does that for me. She doesn't make me feel stupid for not thinking about that kind of stupid stuff.
Right.
You know what I mean? It's just, that's what she does for me. So
Silly.
So I know you guys got a chance to check out the episode, The Suttons, with Chris and Adrian.
Yeah,
They're
great.
Yeah, I mean, look, I'm just gonna go ahead and put them on the plug. If y'all don't have nobody do y'all premarital counseling, I think they would be great.
Okay.
Because I'm referring all of my young couples to them. I'm like, y'all talk to them, especially because they're blended. They have the blended dynamic. They're real, they're straight, no chaser type folks. I love them. I really do. But beyond all of that, what do you all see as going to be kind of like your ground rules? Because that's what Chris and Adrian mentioned about having ground rules of what we not gonna do. Do you all have your ground rules already set, or are you all working on creating a Cooper Constitution for your household?
I like that. Cooper Constitution. You might have to adopt that.
Yeah.
Just send me my royalties.
I think we have unspoken ground rules that we both we never let, there's no disrespect. We never let it go too far. He can speak his mind, I can speak my mind. I'm not always gonna agree with him, he's not always gonna agree with me, but we just don't let it get to a level of disrespect. And I don't.
I mean, that's pretty much it. I mean, I've learned over the 2 years that whatever she says is probably the best solution. So my only rule is to just be like, what would Tanya do? You know what I mean?
Like Jesus, should we ask Tanya? Should we ask Tanya? What do you? That's good. That's good. I'm honored just to have you all, and I know we're coming up on our time, and but I think it's important for people to have notes to take away from. So who were some of the influences for you, Marquis, in regards to that you wanted to pattern outside of mom and dad, that you wanted to pattern yourself by? And then same for you, Tanya. And then what would you say to those that are single and waiting?
No joke. I just told her this like a couple weeks ago. I said I wanted to pattern myself with President Obama. It's like the dude, you know what I mean? Like, no joke. I mean, first of all, the way that man loves his wife.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Out in public like that too is amazing, man. It's like he's like my Martin Luther King. You know what I mean? So he's outside of my father, he's my hero. You know what I mean? Growing up, and that's who I would like to model myself after in relationships and just in life. I mean, like, to be honest, in life. So
I agree. I love me some Michelle. I call her Auntie Shelly. I love me some Auntie Shelly. I do. So, but my grandparents, outside of my parents, my grandparents. So, but to be honest, instead of having role models of what I do want, I think I have role models of what I don't want. I've seen a lot of bad relationships in my life, and I've learned what not to do more often than I've learned what to do. So I just, like, my parents have not been together I'm a result of a high school relationship. So I was born the fall after my dad graduated high school and at the beginning of my mom's senior year. So And then my dad got with my stepmom when I was 1. And then they were married for what, 30 years, 32 years? You know, they divorced right before I had Layla. They divorced. And now he recently got remarried. And that relationship was great. I've literally never seen my dad and my now ex stepmom argue. And I lived with them full time for 5.5 years, and I've never seen them argue. But obviously there was something going on because they got divorced, you know. But the other relationships, I mean, that one was a great relationship, and I have an aunt and an uncle. Her and her husband have been married for, I think they just hit the 26-year mark. But outside of my dad's long-term and my grandparents and my aunt, you know, the great majority of the relationships that I view are things that people married 25 years or however long, but it wasn't a good marriage.
Right.
You know, like to say you're married just to be married I want a happy marriage. I don't want to be married just to,
Facts.
you know?
Yeah.
And so a lot of my role models are anti-role models of what I don't want, you know? So.
And I believe anti-role models have just as much weight, if not more,
They do.
than role models. I'm so glad that you mentioned that, because I yet study relationships. I study people. I realized since I was a little girl, that's been my thing.
Right.
Especially growing up in the church. Y'all know what it's like growing up in church. You would see people, let's just say it's anniversary service. Right. Folks want to come in with their big hats, you know, they fresh suits and stuff, and they walking in, and folks want to give honor to whom honor is due, but folks want to make a big to-do, and they'll say a lot of lip service, but there'll be little action.
Right.
And I remember one preacher, I think he's dead and gone now. I'm confident he's dead and gone now. He talked so much, but when it came down for his wife asking for a piece of shrimp off his plate while we were out to dinner, he literally clanked his fork and looked at her like with a death stare. And I remember looking like, but she was just preaching about the love of God, but your wife can't. And you know, my dad made a little light of it, like, hey man, come on, let your wife have some shrimp. You know, come on, man. And the man said if she wanted some shrimp, she should have ordered it herself. And I think I must have been a preteen. It had to be like my preteen years, like that between 10 and 13, around that, you know, before you really become a teenager and good and crazy. But I remember that because I'm like, my dad isn't like that, you know, and you know, my former pastor, he's not like that with his wife. So the men that I would see growing up, they love their wife. But then it was always the ones that would come in with this big parade that would make me look like, I don't think you all that, bruh.
Right.
Yeah.
Or when I would hear, I have an issue when I hear women speak in a emasculating tone to a man. I hate that.
Right.
Whether a son or a husband, I don't like it.
Right.
You know? And so like I remember, so I can tell you my list of anti-role models. I'm gonna stop the conversation on that note. Otherwise, I'm gonna start name dropping. They're gonna be like, I'm an anti-role. I didn't know I was an anti-role model. Camille. Like you are. But you know, there's the list of anti-role models are huge.
Right.
But yet I do believe people like you and Marquis can turn even them.
Right.
Because sometimes it takes the younger generation who's like, I'm not going to be that. That's not going to be okay. Because we do therapy. Right. We were growing up, we were told you keep it to yourself.
Right.
But here we are like, no, therapy. You know, so we're already going against the grain. And I really do believe that you all's marriage will be second to none because your relationship thus far has been second to none. I have told Marquis, you've seen me post it on Facebook. I said, send him to FedEx so he can get copied. I said, you can lower the hue if you want to. You can change the height if you want. Like, I don't care. Just as long as he has the contents. But what I'm hearing from you, it helps me to know that there is still a remnant of men who still love God.
Yeah. Absolutely.
and who are still willing to do what God has called them to do in relates to relationship. So I want to give you some kudos, man of God, because I'm very proud of you.
Thank you.
Like I told you, you had
I
60
appreciate
days. 60 days to propose. I was like, what we're
Look.
not gonna do is be in 2021 and I don't have a save the date.
Not at all.
I wasn't gonna
You
let
weren't
it
the only one.
I wasn't gonna let it go. I wasn't gonna let
Because
it
I was just gonna call Layla, be like, hey, you need
Yeah.
to let him know at the bedtime so you read him a story.
Right.
Okay. But
Mhm.
so what is
Oh, Layla told him, don't get, my baby
Oh, she
said,
did?
she did. She said, Marquis, are you gonna marry mommy?
She did.
Multiple times. Multiple times.
Come on, evangelist. She was like, what are we doing here, sir?
Marquis, how come you didn't marry mommy yet? Multiple times.
She did. She sure did.
No pressure. You know, there's no pressure here. You know, we just
Look, I thrive under pressure, so it's all good. I do some of my best work under pressure.
so Marquise, what are some tips and encouragement that you can share with single women while they wait? And if he's allowed to say that, Tanya, if you don't mind. And then Tanya, what are some words that pearls of wisdom that you can share with like some single men who maybe haven't made that reach out, they haven't taken that step, they haven't initiated? What would you share with them?
My advice, single women, would be to just listen. I guess this can go with any person, any single person, but you gotta get yourself together.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? You gotta get yourself together so that you understand and you know that when somebody on your level comes, you're ready.
Right.
You know, because you're not going. I'm telling you, if the timing ain't right, you're not gonna be ready. You can meet Prince Charming tomorrow. You probably already met him.
Mhm.
You're probably in your friend zone. You know what I mean?
Oh,
Like
wow.
you're probably in your friend zone, and you just, but you got to get yourself together. You got to know what you want. You got to know who you are, and be patient with yourself. Is my ultimate advice. You got to be patient with yourself, man. You can't be. Don't try to be perfect every day.
Yeah.
Don't try to be perfect every day. Don't think. I'm gonna tell you. Let me tell you something. She says, I love her the most when she's dressed down. It's the reason why men always hit on the girl in the sweats and the tank top at the grocery store.
No, please let's share.
Well, I mean, that's because that's who you are. That shows us that you're comfortable with who you are. And don't nobody want to be comfortable with somebody. Like, I don't want to be sitting up here at 2:00 in the morning and I'm like, like, all right, babe, let's get on. She like, oh, hold on, let me go put some lipstick on first.
Yeah.
Let me go in the bathroom and freshen up. I don't want you to freshen up. You're about to get nasty. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Right.
that's what I want to do. You know what I mean? Like, but I don't know. Just be patient with yourself. You don't got to be perfect, and just keep on. Love somebody. Love yourself.
That's good. That's good.
Love God.
Yes.
Right. So as far as the advice I would give single men, I don't know. I think it's pretty much along the same lines, but I think a lot of people need to open their boundaries. A lot of personal friends that I know, they have this, like when he says, know what you want,
Mm-hmm.
they know what they want physically and they refuse to waver from that. It's like, no one wants a person that they deem unattractive as their mate. Attractiveness has to be there.
Right.
But I've asked a friend of mine before, straight out, about a year ago, would you take a man that was a 10, but treated you physically a 10, but treated you average or less? Or would you take a man that was a 7 and treated you like a queen? And she told me a 10. I was like, so you're telling me you want a physically attractive man who treats you not as well as the man who you think is attractive is just not a 10. I think a lot of people need to open their minds in terms of physically what is acceptable. A lot of people are thinking they're 10s themselves when they're not. So you're running around here asking for one. And you just gotta you gotta open your minds, and it's the physical aspect, the age aspect,
Mm-hmm.
the height aspect. Because my brother will tell you, I used to only want like a 6'5".
Yeah.
Like I used to love tall men, and a 5'11" would walk by and I wouldn't even double look. But I think
Here came Marquise.
I think, just be willing to think outside of your box, because your box hasn't gotten you where you want to be thus far. So think outside of that box a little bit.
Talk about it. That's good. I think that goes for male or female. I think that is huge. I mean, I'll take that for myself, because
I think that
your
I
preference
have certain things that are that were mandatory, but they were all, morals. I wanted a man of God. I wanted a man who was, hardworking, but that stuff I wasn't going to waver on. A good father, hardworking. But when it comes to the other things, he could be a 10 today and lose his leg tomorrow. Are you going to leave him? So you got to think outside the box a little bit.
That's a good point. Very good. Look, Marquis is like, I have it.
Mine is handsome. Listen, let's not get
I met Tanya. I'm a man her. Listen, right. I love you guys. I know you all just got back from an amazing pre-engagement, now engagement celebration. You all already know that there will be some furniture moving if I don't get an invite. Okay, I'm gonna say this is internationally played because it's on Facebook and YouTube. Okay, shoot, the Decepticons might be watching, I don't know, but listen, I'm here for y'all. I support y'all. I'm rooting for you all to win in every aspect. I appreciate y'all stopping by. Be Healed.
Thank you for having us. We had fun. This was fun.
Look, I might have y'all come back on when we have other couples and y'all could do a little game thing type.
Are we doing a reunion show?
We can do like where they are now. You never know. We can do a post, But I just really appreciate you guys. I'm praying with and for you. If you need anything, you can call your little sisters. I'm right here. Okay. And I'll be out there to Beaumont very soon.
Yes.
As soon as this COVID is over.
Yes.
Because Tanya and I, we got a date.
We do. Right here. We got a room full of wine right behind us.
Hey, let's go. Let's have some communion. Anyways, love you all. Thank you all for stopping by. Thank you all for tuning in tonight. It's been another awesome time for all those that are in the comments. We appreciate you. We love on you. And we can't wait to see you all next week when we have another amazing guest that's going to come in and step in the room and just kind of share a little bit more about his journey. Felix Seymour will be with us on next week. So God bless you. May God keep you. And I'll see you all next week.
Thank you.